Sarah wakes up at 6:30 every morning, makes coffee in the same chipped mug she's had for 5 years, and drives 40 minutes to her office job where she earns $52,000 a year. By most standards, she's doing fine. She's not poor. She's not wealthy. She's just normal. But here's what nobody tells you about being normal. Sarah has taken a real vacation in 3 years. She drives a car with a check engine light that has been on for 8 months because the repair costs more than she has in savings. Last month, when her tooth started hurting, she waited 2 weeks before seeing a dentist because she needed to make sure her checking account could handle the copay. And the most shocking part, Sarah is one of the lucky ones. She doesn't have student loans. She's healthy. She's single with no dependency. Yet somehow, at the end of every month, there's nothing left. This is the reality that 58% of Americans face right now. Living paycheck to paycheck, earning what society calls a normal salary, while slowly drowning in a system that punishes normalcy. Let me share something with you that should make your blood run cold. The median household income in America is around $70,000. That sounds reasonable, doesn't it? It sounds like enough. But here's the brutal truth hiding behind that number. After taxes, that $70,000 becomes roughly $53,000. Divide that by 12 months, and you get about $4,400 per month. Now let's talk about where that money actually goes. The average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in America is $1,900. That's 43% of your income gone before you've bought a single grocery item. Add in utilities, internet, and a phone bill, and you're looking at another $300 minimum. So now, you're at $2,200 spent, and you still need to eat, get to work, and hopefully have health insurance. The average car payment is $500. Insurance is another $150. Gas costs around $200 monthly. Groceries for one person run about $400 if you're being careful. Health insurance through an employer still costs you around $300 out of pocket. We're now at $3,750. And we haven't touched student loans, credit card debt, or the idea of saving for retirement or emergencies. You have $650 left for everything else life throws at you. One medical emergency, one car repair, one broken laptop, and suddenly you're not making it anymore. You're drowning. I hope you're doing well. And if you're finding this eye-opening, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon because I'm going to keep bringing you the reality checks nobody else wants to talk about. Now let's dig deeper into why this is happening. The hidden cost of living on a normal salary isn't just about the math not adding up. It's about something far more insidious. It's about the invisible tax on being middle class. The 1,000 tiny financial cuts that bleed you dry without you even noticing, until one day you look up and realize you're 40 years old with $1,700 in your savings account and no idea how you got here. Let's talk about what I call the normalcy trap. Society has sold us this idea that if you work hard, get a decent job, and live responsibly, you'll be okay. You'll be able to afford a modest home, take a vacation once a year, maybe save for retirement, and have a little cushion for emergencies. But that promise was broken somewhere around 1980, and nobody bothered to update the memo. Housing costs have increased by 400% since the 70s. College tuition has gone up by 1,200%. Healthcare costs have tripled. But wages have barely moved. When you adjust for inflation, the average American worker makes about the same amount today as they did in 1973, despite being nearly twice as productive. Here's where it gets really dark. The system is designed to keep you exactly where you are. Think about it. You make enough money that you're not eligible for assistance programs, but not enough to actually get ahead. You earn too much for subsidized healthcare, but your employer's plan costs so much that you still can't afford to actually use it. You make too much to qualify for affordable housing, but not enough to buy a home in most markets. You're stuck in this bizarre middle ground, where you're too rich for help but too poor to thrive. And the worst part, the system needs you there. It needs millions of people earning $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, spending every penny they make. Staying just uncomfortable enough to keep working, but just comfortable enough not to revolt. You're the engine of consumer spending, the reliable tax base, the steady workforce that keeps everything running. Your financial struggle isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. Let's talk about the psychological cost, because this isn't just about money. When you're living on a normal salary in an abnormally expensive world, you're making impossible choices every single day. Do you contribute to your retirement, or pay off your credit card? Do you fix your car, or go to the dentist? Do you buy the healthier food, or the cheaper food? Do you stay in a job you hate because it has decent insurance? Or take a risk on something you'd love but that might not offer benefits? These aren't the kinds of decisions that people make in a normal salary should have to make. But here we are. And here's what nobody talks about. The constant low-level stress of never having enough creates a kind of cognitive overhead that affects everything in your life. Studies show that financial stress reduces cognitive function by the equivalent of losing 30 IQ points. It affects your sleep, your relationships, your physical health, your ability to parent effectively, your job performance, You become less productive at work because you're worried about money, which means you're less likely to get promoted, which means you stay stuck in the same salary range, which means the stress continues. It's a vicious cycle that's almost impossible to break once you're in it. Now let's address something that makes people really uncomfortable: the hidden costs of being poor adjacent. When you're living on a normal salary, you're actually spending more money on everyday things than wealthy people do. And I'm not talking about fancy purchases. I'm talking about basic survival. You can't buy in bulk because you don't have the cash flow or storage space, so you pay more per unit on everything from toilet paper to rice. You can't afford the higher quality item that lasts 10 years, so you buy the cheap version that breaks in 2 years and have to replace it 5 times, spending more in the long run. You can't maintain your car properly because you can't afford the regular oil changes and inspections. So small problems become big, expensive problems. You can't afford preventive health care, so you end up in the emergency room with conditions that could have been treated cheaply if caught early. You can't afford a gym membership or fresh produce, so your health deteriorates, leading to medical bills. There's a reason they call it expensive to be poor. Being middle class isn't much better. You're paying a premium for not having money, and that premium keeps you from ever accumulating money. Let's look at retirement for a moment, because this is where the true horror of the normal salary really reveals itself. Financial experts tell you that you should be saving 15% of your income for retirement. On that median salary of $70,000, that's $10,500 a year, or $875 a month. But remember, after all those basic expenses we talked about earlier, you had $650 left. So you're supposed to put all of that toward retirement and somehow still cover car repairs, medical copays, gifts for family, personal care items, clothing, household supplies, and any semblance of enjoying your life. It's mathematically impossible. The retirement savings rate for middle-income Americans is around 5%, and nearly half of Americans have nothing saved for retirement at all. Nothing. These aren't irresponsible people. These aren't people who are bad with money. These are people living on normal salaries in a world that's become abnormally expensive. And when they reach retirement age, they're going to discover that Social Security provides only about 40% of their pre-retirement income. They'll go from struggling to surviving, from surviving to suffering. Here's something that will really bake your brain. Your grandparents' generation could afford a house, a car, annual vacations, and support a family of 4 on a single income with a high school education. Your parents' generation needed 2 incomes, but could still mostly manage. Your generation needs 2 incomes, side hustles, and creative financing just to afford rent in a decent neighborhood. And the generation being born now, they're looking at a future where even that won't be enough. We're moving backwards while being told we're moving forward. We're working harder, producing more, and earning less in real terms. And the saddest part is that we've internalized the blame. When you can't make ends meet on a normal salary, you think it's your fault. You think you're bad with money. You think you should have studied harder, chosen a better career, been more ambitious. But the truth is that the game is rigged. The math doesn't work anymore. The social contract has been broken. The credit card industry knows exactly what they're doing. They're not just offering you convenient payment options. They're re-offering you a way to maintain the lifestyle that your normal salary promises but couldn't deliver. The average American has over $6,000 in credit card debt. But for middle-income families, that number is closer to $9,000. And at an average interest rate of 20%, you're paying nearly $2,000 a year just in interest. That's money that could be going to savings, to investments, to building wealth. Instead, it's going to bank profits, while you stay trapped on the hamster wheel. The system wants you in debt. Debt makes you compliant. Debt keeps you working. Debt ensures you won't take risks, won't quit bad jobs, won't demand better. The hidden cost of a normal salary is that it has just enough to keep you alive, but not enough to let you truly live. And just scarce enough that you'll borrow to bridge the gap, ensuring you stay exactly where you are, forever. Here's what really gets me angry. We live in the wealthiest nation in human history. American productivity has skyrocketed. Corporate profits are at record highs. The stock market keeps hitting new peaks. The wealth exists. It's just not reaching the people doing the work. Since 1979, worker productivity has increased by 64%, but wages have only increased by 17%. That gap, that's 47% of the value you created that went somewhere other than your pocket. It went to shareholders, 2 executive bonuses, 2 stock buybacks. The people at the top are accumulating wealth at a rate unprecedented in modern history, while people earning normal salaries are falling further behind every single year. This isn't about economic forces beyond our control. This is about choices, policy choices, corporate choices, choices that prioritize profit extraction over human dignity. And we're supposed to just accept it. We're supposed to work harder, be more productive, pick up a side hustle, optimize our lives like we're startups trying to achieve profitability. The hidden cost of a normal salary is that it has turned your entire existence into a grinding resource management game, where the only way to win is to somehow need less than it costs to be alive. So what do? That's the question everyone wants answered. But here's the truth. There's no individual solution to a systemic problem. Sure, you can optimize. You can budget better, cut expenses, learn to invest, develop skills, change careers, start a business, and you should do those things if they make sense for you. But even if you personally escape, the system remains broken for everyone else. Real change requires collective action, policy changes, a fundamental reimagining of how we structure our economy and society. It requires recognizing that a normal salary should actually be enough to live a normal life, and right now, it isn't. It requires demanding wages that match productivity, housing policies that prioritize shelter over investment returns, healthcare that doesn't bankrupt people, education that doesn't saddle students with decades of debt. It requires understanding that the hidden cost of living on a normal salary is measured in dollars. It's measured in dreams, deferred, stress endured, potential unrealized, and lives spent treading water instead of moving forward. Sarah deserves better than driving around with a check engine light on and delaying dental care. And so do you. The question is whether we're going to keep pretending everything is fine or finally admit that normal isn't working anymore and demand something better.